Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, yes, you know what time it is. Neil?
Woo!
The hasty train. Oh, yeah. The hasty train is still on the tracks.
So much
last night
hastiness going on.
There was a lot of hasty train in group chat last night from someone who shall remain nameless, but we will blame.
Yeah.
There was a lot of it. But, I mean, well-deserved up to a certain point because last night was amazing. I think we can pretty safely hasty train this as the best 3-night run Goose has ever played.
Really?
Which one's better, Boston?
Oh, it has to be exactly 3 nights. Like we immediately disqualify like cap runs because
I mean, right. I forgot about cap runs. Well, regardless, It was amazing. We're gonna talk about it. We're here on the Maryland state line. Lucas is with me as well. We are en route to DC, ready for the last 2 shows of tour. But we're gonna talk about Showhio finale here. And we've got a great guest on today. David's joining us. Hi, David. How are you?
Hey, Ryan. How's it going? Hey, Neil. How's it going, man?
Hey, welcome.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for being here with us today. Let's dive right in here. Take us through your pre-show vibes for night 3. Where were you sitting? How are you feeling?
All right. Night 3. We're sitting, let's see, in the 100 section in the back. So we did not have good seats, I would say. That's the one downside about this venue. Like you could get stuck in a corner and feel a little bit, out of it. So we're kind of wandering around and then, we ended up in that kind of spotlight section, that headliner section on the left-hand side. So that was I love that spot over there on the left-hand side. You can see the whole band and like the kind of drum section looks like a big wall in front of you. And it's just a very different vantage point when you're on the left-hand side. So we were just excited. And the one thing I noticed in the crowd, there was just like a very high-level murmur. Like the crowd was certainly excited. They were stirring before the show. Like you could really feel the excitement. Obviously people had big expectations for Sunday night and we were ready for it.
Yeah, similar, just so much excitement going into the show. We got the same upper balcony spot above Peter that we had on Saturday night, which was an amazing spot. Amazing sound, great vantage to see everything going on. But yeah, just like, what are they going to do tonight? Are we going to get a big jam? Are we going to get a thing? The Bob Weir speculation was still happening. I was happy to see that when I walked in, there was no room on the stage for an extra amp and pedal board and whatever. Because as I said yesterday, like, I just want to see Goose, as cool as a Bobby sit-in would be. This needed to be, a Goose run and a third night of just Goose. And they come out like first time acoustic on stage since Newport Folk Fest in 2022, I believe, and first time at a headlining Goose show since Radio City. So excited about this. Our first 3 songs here, Moonrise, Dim Lights, Atlantic City. Moonrise was one of the few Goose originals I hadn't seen yet. So I was really excited about this. And Dim Lights getting the Goose treatment. One of the things I noticed, I don't know if you guys did as well, but on the soundboard, Guitar Jeb sounds so good here. His electric guitar work alongside Rick and Peter's acoustic guitar. 3-guitar Goose, man. It's pretty good. But David, what did you think the first 3 songs here?
Yeah, so when they just started Moonrise, I was just thinking to myself, oh, is this an acoustic set? That was my first thought. Like, are they going to play a whole set acoustic? I was extremely excited. I'd never seen like a Ray Below before or that type of format. So just to hear some new tunes in a very chill, kind of folky way, in an intimate setting, that was awesome. So yeah, I mean, I just enjoyed. It was like you're at a Crosby, Stills and Nash show / Grateful Dead from the 1980s. Like that's what it felt like to me. You were in Radio City Music Hall listening to this amazing acoustic performance, and we'll get to the goods in a little bit. But no, I mean, Moonrise was really fun. It was like you're almost at a campfire, and then Dim Lights, it's funny. I'm just reading my notes because I can't remember much. I wrote Jeb guitar, exclamation point. You could really hear him. And I'll say every time I turned around at this particular show, as the show went on, I was like, oh, Jeb's playing guitar again. Oh, there he is playing guitar again. And that was kind of a great, addition to the show overall. And then like Dim Lights, I mean, just Rick's voice was just very heartfelt, and he really just laid down like this very peaceful tapestry. So it as far as like how different it was from the first two nights, it just doesn't get any better than that. So
Absolutely. Neil, what did you think of the beginning to the show here from the couch?
I mean, fascinating that this was not advertised, just kind of a secret little treat that they were bringing out there. I had a lot of thoughts about this when it started happening. My first thought was they're going to press this 3-show run to wax. And it's like this acoustic run's just like their bit like sealed the deal for me. So there's that one of the thoughts. And then, yeah, man, I am really surprised that Dim Lights is now a Goose song. I thought that was going to be the one that they always just kind of kept for a Ray Below, but here we are. It is now a Goose song, and now I have to hear them play it because it is my favorite song.
I don't think this is a song that's going to be played electric though. And I don't think it should get played electric. I think this is an acoustic song. This is one of Rick's best songs that he's ever written.
Right.
And I think the decision to bring it to Goose makes sense here because it's so good, but it should only be an acoustic thing. Now I would love to
totally.
see I'd love to see these acoustic mini sets more often though.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's what I was just getting to, which is this is a secret weapon that Goose has, which is there's an alter ego to this band as like an acoustic performer, right? I mean, it kind of gets wrapped up in a Ray Below, but they've proven now that this can be a Goose thing too. But this is amazing stuff. It's not even just kind of like, oh, this is a little bit of acoustic stuff. Like, boy, isn't that fun? No, this is really, really, really good. Really good music. And I wish they did it more often. But when they do it so infrequently, you get really incredible picks of songs to be played. Atlantic City, one of Goose's best covers. I mean, Rick just does it so well. You get Dim Lights, you get Moonrise, which is one of my favorite Peter songs, if not my most favorite Peter song. And then you get What Comes Next, which is even more exciting, which is like an extra little treat.
Man.
You get that transition from acoustic to electric. It's been done a couple times before. They did it at T's house with Jive 2. They did it at the Caverns with Rosewood Heart. And then here you get it again. And it comes through so big on the boards. The cheer from the crowd is incredible. So good. They should just do this like at least once a year. It shouldn't be once every, couple years or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
No, 100%. And yeah, that transition was amazing. I also interesting to note that I heard, again, Neil, you'll laugh at the deep keyboard geekery here, but it sounded like Peter was using an upright piano sound instead of his usual grand piano on A Western Sun, which I think complements the acoustic vibe a little bit more. So I think that's what I heard. Not sure, 100% certain, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened. But yeah, Atlantic City, a treat. Again, one of Rick's best vocal performances. Like, he's singing his heart out here. And then, Western Sun. I mean, this jam was really, really good. I love the sound of Trevor's acoustic bass. It really. So
does Trevor, apparently.
Yeah,
he just didn't put it down.
Yeah, it was great. But yeah, David, what did you think of this Western Sun?
First, the Atlantic City was such a treat to hear. I mean, I was very, very psyched for that. I'm from Jersey originally, so and my family's in Atlantic City, so I just had a lot of memories there. So that was a special song for me. And the crowd was loving it. That was a big sing along. And then A Western Sun. So from the Pittsburgh run through Cincinnati, this was like my check the songs off the list. Like, of the 4 shows, they played so many songs I had never heard before. And I'm not even counting covers. I think there were a dozen or so songs that I heard that I had never heard before. And Western Sun was one of them. So this is my first Western Sun. And like, the interesting thing was, I thought to myself, oh, is this going to be a typical Western Sun that is 5 to 6 minutes? That was my first thought. Or is this going to be a proper Western Sun where they're really going to take it out? And that's what it ended up being. And it was pretty magical. It was, I mean, from what I remember of the jam, it was kind of like a cool groove. It was like a bluesy rock, a bit of funk. It was kind of straightforward. And like, it kind of reminded me of like, I don't want to start a big comparison or discussion, but like, it was like party time at the end. That was the vibe that I was getting in the room. Like, and that was the switch, right? That was the switch from obviously acoustic to electric, but I mean, that was the on-ramp to the rest of the show. And the rest of the show had this like rock, funk, danceable vibe. And like, that kind of came out of the Western Sun to lead us into the rest of the show.
100%. Yeah, it just really nice collective build. Cotter's drumming stuck out to me a lot on re-listen here. You know, kind of that Leo clip from Ted Tapes again, that kind of like that ride cymbal pattern that he does, that I love it so much. But yeah, really, really strong peak here. I had a lot of questions last night, like people asking me if this would be bracket eligible because it's acoustic. Yes, absolutely, it's bracket eligible. This personally, I don't think makes my playlist. But if it makes yours, this can end up in the bracket. You know, we had the Caverns Rosewood in 2021. So just for those wondering. But yeah, Neil, you got any more thoughts on this jam?
I can't believe Jam of the Year bracket was the thing that came up as a result of this. But
people ask me about it.
Nothing else to add other than, you know, really nice performance of Western Sun. I would have thought maybe some more musical ideas would have been established in 17 minutes or so of Western Sun, but it was still pretty cool. So yeah, I'm down with it, man. They should jam this out every opportunity they get.
Yeah. Then Trevor, as you mentioned, Trevor did not want to put down his acoustic bass.
No.
Played it through Butter Rum, which I thought was really cool. Solid jam here, nothing crazy. You know, great vintage vibe work from Peter. Then we get Born, Spirit of the Dark Horse, Slow Born Jam, Peter Sirens. Yes. Those are my big thoughts on that.
Those are your big thoughts.
Yeah, David, what do you think of
No, that's
Butter Rum,
exactly
Born, Dark
what.
Horse?
Yeah, Butter Rum was really fun. Obviously, I mean, I felt like I was on Jam Cruise or something. I don't know. I felt like the whole crowd they were certainly into it. They were ready to rock, ready to party. It was fun, but like the Born was really what sparked my interest. I mean, this was like an ethereal kind of sci-fi droney jam in the beginning, from what I remember. Yeah, it was like eerie and dark and twisting and just doing some cool stuff. It had this really slow build, and it was like dark and grumbly. I mean, it was exactly like the evil Goose that you kind of want to hear. It was that ambient, dark kind of, yeah, it was cool. I mean, and Trevor really, for me, Trevor was laying down some just very thick, deep kind of bass. You know, it was just a dark, evil jam, and I loved it. I loved every minute of it. So,
you know who didn't love it?
I loved it. And so this Born, my notes were David kind of had the same thoughts as you. It's very cinematic. It's almost like it's a score of like a sci-fi film on an eerie alien planet, you know? And yeah, it's just, there's something that's super dramatic about this, and really, really loved it. And of course, the Butter Rum that came before it was awesome. Just like a disco dance party every time now. And I just love this, whatever this section of Rum is, because this isn't really the first time they've done it like this. But you can't hate Rum. I'm sorry. There are a lot of people out there like, I don't like Butter Rum, and I have to disagree with you, because if you get a little, 7 or 8 minutes of jam like you get in this, it's impossible to really hate this, even if you don't like the lyrics of Butter Rum, which I think is the source.
I still don't love the song. I still don't love the song, but I get excited when they play it because the jams are sick.
Yes, I mean, you're going to dance. You're not going to sit there and kind of stare at the wall. And then, so just quick note on before we move on from the Dark Horse. This is like an actually well jammed out Dark Horse. The past several versions in my mind, just kind of they come and go. But this one has a really beautiful piano solo from Peter. I don't know if I would call this like a jam out. It's two really nice solos. Let's put it that way. Really nice piano solo from Peter, and then a really nice guitar solo from Rick, and then you're out. But they actually like did something with the song instead of just kind of checked it off people's stats, which I feel like it's kind of what happens sometimes when Dark Horse gets played.
Sure.
So yeah, it's a pretty neat little section of the show here.
Absolutely. And then first set closes with My Mind Has Been Consumed by Media and Rockdale. Back to the media with no synth solo. Love it. 2 minutes. It's goofy. It's fun. Corn boy on lyrics, as Peter said. And then Rockdale. What a year this song is having. Every version's just like really interesting. So, shout out to Goose for making Rockdale interesting again, because that's what we've been doing pretty much all year. David, your thoughts on the end of this first set?
Yeah, I mean, Dark Horse. So yeah, just to take it back, like I thought, obviously Born and Dark Horse were paired together. They like really flowed into each other. Dark House, like it started out. Yeah, I mean, it had this like, it started out slow, not slow, but it started out like in the same theme of Born, and then it was more of an upbeat jam in Dark Horse, which I don't know if that's typical or not. But it kind of went from dark to light is what I kind of noticed. And then Media was just a fun, like rollicky. I felt like it was like a punk rock little number that was awesome to hear. Obviously, Cotter sing and then Rockdale. I mean, they just laid it down and brought it to a fiery close in that set. So it was I enjoyed that a lot.
Absolutely. Neil?
Okay, so this Rockdale has, I think, my favorite section of jamming the whole entire night. I know what that means. I know what that means because I know what it's being measured against in people's eyes. But this is one of the coolest tension builds, I think, ever. So we talk about patience a lot on the show. We overuse that word, I think. But this one is an example of that. Even though it's a short jam, they very, very slowly build tension in this thing. Like Rockdale typically has that like tension release, tension release, tension release, and you're out kind of thing. This thing is like 7 minutes of building up tension for an incredible release at the end of it. And it's just awesome. And Peter is the one who really kind of does a lot of that tension building with his keyboard playing. It's awesome, man. This Rockdale is absolutely incredible. This is the stuff I get really excited about. It doesn't have to be a 26-minute jam to, knock my socks off. It has to do things like what this one does. And I just think there's some incredible musical ideas in this one. And yeah, I mean, this is an example of the band just kind of firing on all cylinders and giving you an excellent jam going into set break. I mean, Rockdale can just be Rockdale going in to close the set, and then you're happy going into set break. But then you get a jam like this too. Wow. Really, really good stuff.
Very well said. All right, David, take us through your set break. How are you feeling?
Yeah, for
what
sure.
Were you expecting?
I was feeling really good. I mean, overall, I just want to comment on that set. Like, I thought it was like the set that you would play at like a backyard barbecue. Like, it starts out with like it's mellow acoustic, right? People are arriving at the backyard barbecue, and then it like ramps up into like what you would expect from a typical Goose show. So that was pretty sweet. And then we got some Steely Dan at set break. So that like I think that was a harbinger of what's to come in the second set. I did notice that, and I was like, it felt like a Saturday night to me in some odd way. But it was a really cool vibe at set break. People were just hanging out, and like we knew there was something big coming. We didn't know exactly what it was, but that was the feeling.
Thank you for reminding me to talk about Loomis's decision to play Asia for set break because that was amazing. Everybody in there was dancing. Like,
it was pretty awesome. Loud too. Like it wasn't.
Yeah,
it was not. The volume was up. On
no,
that,
it was not. It was not background music. It was
no.
Like, we're having a listening party to Asia right now. It was awesome. No, it was great. If you don't like Steely Dan, like that sucks for you because it's awesome. Also, why don't you like Steely Dan? Because it's awesome. But yeah, Loomis generally nails the set break music choices. Like in Seattle in September when he put on Working Man's Dead. Like it's just like, like hell yeah. Will Goose ever play Steely Dan? would be fun.
I don't know.
But yeah, anyway, that was my set break. I was really enjoying it. I was glad that they came back on before, because we were getting very close to like where Do It Again is on the album. And I was like, if they come on like midway through that song, I'm gonna be pissed. But luckily we didn't make it there.
So today everybody learned that Ryan Storm is a huge Steely Dan fan.
I've actually
In
been
fact,
listening to
listens
a lot of
5
Steely
bands.
Dan. I've been listening to Steely Dan a lot lately. So yeah,
They're no Doobie Brothers, but I'll take it, I guess.
Michael McDonald, the common thread here.
Common thread there, yeah, exactly.
Oh man! All right, well, let's get into set break. Let's get into the second set here. Lots to talk about. Wisteria Lane, Psycho Killer, Slow Ready. David, start us off here.
I loved just the vibe of this Wisteria. It was like mellow and rumbling along, and it became like almost like this tribal rock groove that we heard the night before. It really reminded me of Saturday Night in a big way. It was just like the band, it was just like it was effortless. They were like just locked in to this groove in Wisteria. And it was like sophisticated and intricate. And then, they get to this like relentless peak that they kind of just got to in Rockdale. So it kind of called upon what we just heard at the end of the set, and it kind of picked up that momentum right into the start of the second set, with like a very cool spacey intro into Psycho Killer. So it was an awesome 1-2 punch to open it up.
Yeah, I thought the Wisteria was really good. Solid 2 guitar stuff. I do think, rather than the Psycho Killer, I would have wanted a few more minutes of jamming. Just to see where they would have gone post peak. I do like that pretty much all the Halloween covers are getting a turn in the rotation this week. You Spin Me in DC, maybe, hopefully. Would love to see that one again. But yeah, no, this was a solid way to open the set. Cotter's second vocal performance of the night.
Just taking the vocal duties, and he does a really good job of this. I think, at least. I mean, it's mostly spoken, the song, so it's not really, I don't know, like a singing song necessarily, but I just like the way he delivers it. It sounds awesome. And then, this Wisteria, I don't know, man. I think they kind of ran away from this one because they weren't finding any ideas that they were looking for. This is like the most straight rock and roll Wisteria I've heard them play in like a long time. This is like a rock and roll jam, like, which is really weird for Wisteria. Usually it gets like a little bit like psychedelic or like ethereal, like you kind of get some space in there. I didn't really get that vibe at all in this thing. It was just like a party, kind of like the butter rum. You just kind of rage,
Yeah, and I think you get that different vibe because Peter stuck to guitar, which, first of all, he hasn't been doing in Wisteria a lot this year, and he didn't set up any synth drones, I don't think. So that's also uncharacteristic of this song. Part of the reason why the Portland Wisteria goes where it does so quickly is because Peter immediately goes to OB6. So you don't get that in this jam, and so you get more of that hard rock vibe that you get from 2 Guitar Goose. But good observation there. And then mid-set Slow Ready. Not my favorite placement for this song, but it was good. Felt like Peter was playing around with some keyboard tones through here. Whoa, hot take in the chat. 130.22 was a good Wisteria.
Yeah.
Never heard that opinion before.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, actually, if you don't, that's like one of their greatest jams ever. But anyway, mid-set Slow Ready, ended up being solid. And then this Redbird, the first half is like an Arcadia jam, I find. And then the second half is like one of my favorite segments of music of the year. I just went back and listened to it before we hopped on the pod here. And man, like the way they bring it down and then they build in this very like Indian River, like chord progression. Again, lots of listening, lots of interplay. Just gorgeous stuff. But David, what did you think of the big bird?
Yeah,
here?
I mean, this was by far like the highlight of the show for me. I mean, overall, this was maybe a 4 or 5 part jam that just flowed from one section into another. I think it started out like kind of more like rock and roll, like kind of hard and heavy. And then it was back to this like brooding mellow part that we heard from like Born and Dark Horse, earlier in the show. And then it got like more upbeat and happy and mellow, and like Peter's organ, I remember, kind of like set the tone. And then it went into this like island jam. Like I felt like I was, I don't know, on a beach in Mexico listening to this like tropical rock kind of jam to end it. So it like twisted and turned, and I thought it was excellent.
Yeah. Neil?
Yeah, the Slow Ready, when they started playing Slow Ready, I was like, oh no. Like that's what this set's going to be. You kind of got like a truncated Wisteria, then you get Psycho Killer, and then you get the Slow Ready. And like I was kind of at that moment like, okay, like can't win them all, three night runs, like, you kind of got to have a vibes night, and that kind of was starting to feel like a vibe show. And then the Redbird happens and completely changes the vibe of the whole entire set. I mean, this is a giant, first and foremost. Multi-part jam, definitely very fiery jam in the beginning. And like that felt like that could have been it. That would have been just your pretty standard Redbird. And then the last last like 7 minutes of this Redbird is just one musical idea again, just fully expressed from just a few notes all the way to, the end of just like this gigantic jam that it becomes. And yeah, it reminds me in a way of like a little bit like Legend Valley Creatures, which like starts with just a couple notes and then builds and builds and builds into this like beautiful tapestry, right? And it's kind of similar to how the Cap Into the Mist kind of unfolds as well, where it just gets like bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and then you have this like really gorgeous piece of music at the end. And that is what this Redbird is. A lot of people are very, very excited about this jam. I don't know. I have to go back and listen to it a couple more times. But this is the stuff that you go to the shows for. You want the big jams.
Yeah, I'm really having a hard time keeping up with all the rankings. The past week or so, like they're coming at us with so many high quality jams in such a condensed time. It's like, I don't have the opportunity to, because especially in September, we were getting some really good jams, but it was like, you get one in this show, and then one in the next show, and then two in the next show maybe. But this one, it's like, oh, there's like one in every set that you need to like really digest. And this is not one that you can like look at and be like, okay, yeah, that one slots in at 12 on my list. Like there are some jams that you can like kind of look at and you're like, oh yeah, that one goes right there. But this is a jam that you need to listen to it a number of times, and then you need to listen to the stuff around where you want to rank it and figure out where it goes. But that just speaks to the quality of how Goose is playing right now. And how it's not easy to rank these because they're playing so well. Anyway, second set closes out with Tumble here. Solid Tumble. Great way to close the set. Good energy. Not much else to add. You guys got any thoughts on the Tumble?
Just a standard fiery Tumble. They never really take that turn from, the Corey Wong funk to like the next step. They'd kind of just like stay with that vibe through the whole entire Tumble, which is, what was it, about 18 minutes of Tumble, 17 minutes actually?
Ish, yeah.
Something like that. And it's just all rage, and I love that to close a second set. That's kind of an unusual placement for it these days. And I thought it was great.
There you go. David, any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I just thought it matched the Steely Dan, the funk, the dance. It was like this jazzy Tumble. And it was it was a solid way to close it for sure. I think everyone was just like needed to party after that Redbird. So
100%. And so I love when the band also is like in touch with like the internet rumors about things and then make a joke about it. Like the Billy Strings thing at the Agora in 2022. And so last night, they come on for the encore and Rick goes like, all right, here's the sit-in you've all been waiting for. Really excited to welcome to the stage Billy Ray Cyrus. And Trevor comes out, tank top, cowboy hat, achy breaky heart. Oh, great.
Yeah, I'm glad that's a rarity.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was good for a laugh in the room, but oh
Yeah.
man, is
Well,
it
that's
bad.
what makes it a good
It's
bit.
it's so bad.
But it's great because, like, if they played this in
Oh,
regular
man.
rotation, yeah, it wouldn't be that good. But, like, you know, fine, you know, it's been 122 shows since the last one, so it was good.
Yep.
David, got any thoughts on Trevor singing?
I
Achy
thought the
Breaky
crowd
Heart?
really loved it. I
Yeah.
thought the crowd really loved it. I mean, and the funny thing is, this is kind of hilarious, but my buddy sitting next to me thought that was really Billy Ray Cyrus for a second. So yeah. So I wonder how many people were really fooled, by the Billy Ray Cyrus announcement. So yeah, that was hilarious. But yeah, it was 3-4 minutes. It was really fun. It was just kind of you had to be there type of experience, and then
Yep.
and then a fiery Factory Fiction close. So that was just a fun way to go out on a really high level weekend, the whole weekend. So
Yeah. Still waiting for that, properly jammed out Factory Fiction to open a second set at some point. But, Factory Fiction is
very
awesome.
typical Factory Fiction, but it was fun.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Factory Fiction, if it only had 4 more minutes of jam on it, I wonder where they could have found those 4 minutes to jam that Factory Fiction. But
Going on 4 minutes earlier.
They could have done that too.
The Achy Breaky Heart was necessary, just for the record.
Yeah, I don't know if necessary is the right word, but I mean, it was good in there. No, like what I do appreciate is Trevor getting up there, and like that's got to be hard to do, just like whether it's like reading poetry or doing that. Like you're not out there like singing for the performance of it. Like you're singing to get the laugh, and that's got to be a weird vibe as a musician. I don't know.
It was great, and a good conclusion to the weekend. I mean, as he said on Friday, Goose is an Ohio band. Now we will find out if Goose is a Washington D.C. band tomorrow, which I expect that they are.
Yeah, last time they played there wasn't so bad.
It was pretty good. Too bad they won't be playing Wisteria, because we all know how DC Wisterias go.
Yeah.
But we're gonna get back on the road here,
like getting into the shot.
Yeah, it's great.
Like every episode.
There he is again. Well, yeah, we'll be back on Wednesday, birthday pod, to recap night 1 in DC. It's going to be a blast at the Anthem. Can't wait to see what they do for the last 2 nights of tour. They have, 4.5 more shows after this, but this is the end of their last tour of the year. So, I expect that they're gonna blow it out. And I'm really excited to see what happens. But David, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure.
It, guys. It's a lot of fun
chatting with you. Everybody, enjoy the rest of your Monday. Enjoy the beginning of your week. We will see you on Wednesday afternoon. Peace. Thanks for watching.